What is up, people on the internet? JQL here, back with another video. In today's video, I have another custom LEGO video on my custom LEGO minifigures from Ben 10 Alien Force. And here it is, the long anticipated video I've been wanting to make to show off these 10 aliens from one of my favorite cartoon shows of all time. So here we have from the top row, Swampfire, Humungousaur, Big Chill, Chromastone, Goop, Ben Tennyson himself, Alien X, Jetray, Spidermonkey, Echo, and Brainstorm. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with how these guys turned out. I really took my time with these guys, and I think they actually turned out better than my previous set of Ben 10 figures. But without further ado, let's just get started with this video. Alright, here we have Ben Tennyson himself when he's 16 in Alien Force. Pretty simple figure. I think I've shown this guy off before, so I'll go through him real quick. Head is a painted face. Not the best painted face ever. I'd probably redo it now, to be honest. And I'm sorry the base is moving. The hairpiece is a Emmett hairpiece. I just sculpted on the bangs using Procreate. Every figure in this video I use Procreate for. The jacket is the 3D jacket made out of an index card. The arms are painted. I sculpted the Omnitrix itself. It's very simple. It's basically sculpted like a glove top, except this time I just sculpted on the Omnitrix logo there, and the legs are painted, but barely. So yeah, very simple figure, but it gets the job done. Alright, here we have the first alien introduced in Alien Force, Swampfire. Swampfire is a cool guy. For the most part, Swampfire was very simple. The head is fully sculpted by me, and everything I sculpt for every single thing I use Procreate to sculpt for every single my figure, if you guys didn't know. It's a sculpting putty that has a black and white, and you mix them together and shape it however you like and let it dry. So that's how it works. That's a brief explanation. The arms and legs are extended because Swampfire is a pretty big, tall alien. And the green color is a mixed color that I mixed, and the feet are different from any other type of feet. They're like roots that are, hit on his feet, I guess, which is kind of cool. And the head, like I mentioned, is sculpted. Not the best head sculpt ever, but I think it gets the job done. Pretty happy with how the face turned out. I could have made it more aggressive, but, I kind of like this face. It works very well. And the little spikes that you see on his arms are sculpted out of Procreate as well. They're just like rolled up pieces of Procreate that I pointed out and glued them onto the arms. I could have made him a little bit bulkier, but I think, the tall and lengthy look kind of fits with Swampfire. And the Omnitrix logo is sculpted out of Procreate and stuck onto every single figure. And I think it turned out pretty great. And it was a lot simpler to paint than the last Omnitrix I had to paint for the original series figures. So, yeah, another thing I did is I kind of made the feet a little differently. I made them look like this because that's kind of how they look on the show. Kind of hard to explain, but you know what I mean. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Swampfire. Alright, here we have Echo. Now, Echo and Chromastone are actually figures I've shown in a video before, so I'm going to go through them really quickly. They're also, well, Echo is very simple, so basically I took a shortened legs and painted them white. I sculpted the headphone jack or whatever they are on the legs. I sculpted a little thingy on his hand. The backpack is sculpted, and then I connected it to the headphones that are actually attached to the head. And that does make it so that way his head can't move, but that's okay. I think it works. And the face is fully painted, and I rounded off the head because he has a roundish head. So, yeah, I tried making him as small as possible. He looks pretty small. Put it next to Ben. I think that's a pretty good size. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for Echo. Alright, here we have Chromastone, probably one of my favorite figures in this video. Yeah, like I said, I've already talked about this guy before, so I'll quickly go over him. The base was a skeleton body. The legs were the Minecraft Wither skeleton legs that I just painted purple. I didn't change them at all. I think they looked great. And the arms were skeleton arms, but I just sculpted the bulk of it. They still do move, but they are not removable. And the base torso was a skeleton torso that I just bulked out in several layers. It took a long time to get it to look like this, but overall, I'm really satisfied with how it looks. And the Omnitrix is also sculpted. I forgot to mention that with Echo. The head is fully sculpted by me. I really like the shape and how it looks. And yeah, one thing I'm not too proud of with this figure is the diamonds that sticking out from his chest and the back. I think I could have sculpted them a little better. But I do really like the hot pink metallic color that I painted or mixed for this. I think it looks really accurate to the show and looks really nice, being metallic. So that's pretty much it for Chromastone. Not much else to talk about with him, but yeah. Alright, here we have Spidermonkey. Not gonna lie, Spidermonkey's not my favorite alien. So yeah, and he's not exactly the best figure in this video, but I am still pretty proud of him for the most part. Yeah, the head is sculpted out of Procreate. Not fully. I used the Lego head as a base. I cut off the stud, rounded the head, and sculpted the sideburns that he has. and the little indent that comes out on the back of his head, and the chin is sculpted, and I painted the face. Not the best painted face. I think the eyes are a little too far apart, but he's a spider monkey, so, you know, it doesn't really matter, I guess. The chest of the torso was sculpted, and you can see he has 4 arms that are all articulated. And how I did this is I basically took a normal Lego torso, drilled the holes for the bottom arms, and then I used leg connector pieces, like if I take Swampfire real quick, these pieces right here, I took those, cut them off, and then glued it to the side of the torso, so that way, and then basically they're connected via ball joints. I'll just rip off this arm. This arm's easy to take out. So there's the ball joint, and it just goes into the hole like so. And yeah, it was a hell of a project. I actually made another torso before this, and it failed miserably. So yeah, I had to make a version 2, and this is the result. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. He's a little taller than I like, but yeah, for the most part, he works. And the tail was sculpted. The legs were custom made by me. I used some Lego parts, kind of mimicking the Accelerate legs I made for the last video, but for the most part, it works. I would have used the goat legs that I used for Jetray, but fortunately, I only had one of those, so I gave it to Jetray instead. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with how Spidermonkey turned out. But yeah, I think the one thing I could do better is the face, to be honest. But overall, pretty happy with how he turned out. Alright, next up, here we have Goop. Goop was actually a really fun figure to make. I really wasn't sure how I was going to approach this figure. I kind of just worked my way without even thinking about it, which I know sounds a little weird, but yeah, Goop is one of those characters where his proportions are all weird and wacky, which I really enjoyed in the process of making this guy. So yeah, it was really fun. And first things first, let's talk about the fact that I fully sculpted the head. It is not removable, but it is on there. And I did chop up the torso a little bit. I chopped up like the corners bits, that way it kind of fit together with his like body shape kind of thing. And I also sanded down the sides to make him a little skinnier. The arms are extended. Then I sculpted the a lot on it, these little shoulder things, and the forearms. The feet was also not extended, sculpted, and I think it looks pretty good. It makes them look blobby-like, and I love how that looks. And the omnitrix, of course, is sculpted out of Procreate. Forgot to mention that. And I painted it like this, like kind of shading. It's not really shading, I guess, but it doesn't exactly look good all the way around the figure, but from the front it looks pretty good. And I'm pretty happy with that. And the the anti-gravity thingy that he has, I'm not exactly sure what it is exactly, but it is connected via staple. I know it's supposed to hover over him and control his body, but unfortunately it's Lego. I can't really do anything about that, so I just use staple. And for the most part, I really don't mind. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah. It was sculpted out of Procreate completely, and then I painted it to how it is. It's a little messy, but you know, the detail is there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Goop. Pretty happy with how this guy turned out. And yeah. Alright, here we have Big Chill. Probably the fan favorite of Alien Force, I think. Like, he's probably the second most requested alien for me to make. And I finally made him. I just dropped something. That's okay. Really happy with how this guy turned out. I didn't want to bulk him out or anything when it came to the body. I just sculpted the chest a little bit, and then the omnitrix, of course. And that's pretty much all the sculpting work I did on the body of the figure. The rest of it is just painted work, and it came out pretty good. I really like how it turned out. It was kind of hard to fit all the detail on the legs, but for the most part, I think I did a pretty good job. Now, the wings are the hardest part. I basically took paper. I took 2 layers of paper. I overlapped them and glued them together so that way they're more sturdy. I ran out of index cards. That's why I did that. I don't recommend doing that, but that's what I did. And you see the wingspan it like barely fits into the frame. But yeah, basically I did that, cut the shape out. It took 4 tries. Then I glued it onto the back. And, oh wait, this part's sculpted out of Procreate. I guess I should have mentioned that. And then I cut these parts out. And these are like 4 separate pieces. This whole bottom wing section was 1 piece. This entire wing section was 1 piece. And then there's these 2 individual parts that I glued together. And yeah, that makes his little wingspan. And it looks really sick. I love the wing shape. It turned out really great. I would have loved to make his hooded form, but that would have required me to make a whole separate figure, and I wasn't willing to do that. So yeah, this is what you get, and maybe I'll do in the future. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Big Chill. One of my favorite figures in this video, to be honest. Alright, next up here we have Jetray. Jetray is kind of hit or miss. It's very simple, but very effective. I do like how he turned out. I just think there's some things I can do better. First of all, this figure was the head was sculpted out of Procreate. It is not removable, just because I'm not going to use it for any other character. That's kind of the trend in these with these figures. The mouth was sculpted, and the little thingies that protrude out, his antenna, whatever, are sculpted. And then I sanded the sides of the torso to in the like make it look like he has the ribs showing like he does in the show. And then I sculpted on the arm cheeks. Of course, the legs are the goat legs from the CMF series. I don't know. The tail is sculpted, and the wings are probably the best part of this figure. Best and also most disappointing. The wingspan is supposed to be much larger, but I used these arms from like the Man Bat figure, and because like I thought it was gonna work at first, but then for some reason it just doesn't look right to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but yeah, I feel like it should be wider. Maybe I could have extended his arms. I should have done that, actually. I'm kind of an idiot. I can't believe I didn't think of that until now. But yeah, that's a little embarrassing. But for the most part, I really like how he turned out. Probably won't update him. I think for the most part he looks great. And yeah, so sculpted, painted figure. Yeah, not a lot of detail going on with Jetray here. Alright, next up is Brainstorm. Brainstorm was a hell of a figure. This thing gave me so many headaches when it came to making this guy. I think he took the longest to make, honestly, and yeah, I'm so glad he's done. He looks pretty great, but man, let's talk about him. Brainstorm was a very interesting figure to make. Before I started, I was like, how the hell am I gonna make this figure? And then eventually I figured something out. I decided to try it, and luckily it worked out. And yeah, so I'm trying to get the piece off right now. The base of the head was this thing. I basically took this thing, sculpted up and out a little bit, because you can tell he looks a little wider, and then went from there. So it's basically a lot of improvisation, and yeah, luckily it worked out, but it definitely took a lot of work. So this is a quick 360. He's kind of hunching back because if I had him standing properly, then he'd fall over whenever I move the space. So the legs are basically antennas pieces. The entire bottom half. Let me first split the figure. This figure can split into several pieces, by the way, including the legs. The legs were antenna pieces, you can see, and the bottom half is actually a bunch of these pieces glued together. I took 6 of these and then glued them together, and then kind of just sanded everything, and then it looked like this, and it looks pretty good. And yeah, so he's connected via like the stud, and then sorry, he's like really hard to move. I don't want him to break. He's not fragile, but I'm just afraid he's gonna break, and I really don't want him to break. Spend so much time on him. And yeah, so that's the bottom part, and then you can see the omnitrix is of course sculpted. And the biggest thing I had to include with this figure is have his head split open like this, and luckily I managed to do it. This is the first thing that I was like, how am I gonna do this? And then I figured I just use magnets, and they are pretty the magnets aren't super strong, so like if I move a little too high, they flop a little bit. Luckily I managed to incorporate this feature. You can see the brain is painted in there. It looks pretty good when it's up like this. He looks sick, and it was a lot of work and brain power used, but luckily I managed to do it. And the magnets are, oh, drop that, back here if you couldn't tell. And yeah, so moving on. The arms are actually skeleton droid arms, and then I cut the hands out, and then I replaced them with these claw pieces to make them look a little more accurate. And then I painted the face. Looks pretty good. I sculpted these little horn things. I'm not sure, spikes. Let's go with that. That he has. He's like a crab, so he has that apparently, and I don't understand it, but whatever. And yeah, turned out pretty great. And then the hardest part about this figure, well, actually, the hardest part about this figure was figuring out how to make him. The second hardest part was finding the right color. I mixed this dark brown orangish color. Believe it or not, there is orange in this. He's supposed to be a lighter orange, but I just had to figuring out how to make this guy and then figure out the paint color was giving me a headache, so I just gave up and decided to make him like this. And although those people may not agree, I think overall it works. And this is what it looks like next to a normal minifigure. You can see he's pretty short, despite how he looks. And I'm really glad I was able to make him this short, because he's not super big in the show. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for Brainstorm. I think there's really not much else to talk about. I know he looks really weird from the side, but just deal with it. I guess I will try and make him stand up right for the change. Hey, there we go. And he turned out really, really, really great. I'm really happy how he turned out. He's honestly probably my favorite figure in this video. And definitely has entered the top 10 in my ultimate favorite minifigures. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for Brainstorm. And move on to the next figure. Alright, here we have probably the second simplest figure next to Echo Echo in this video, Alien X. Alien X is very, very simple. I didn't really do much with him. I just sanded the stud off and then sculpted the top and rounded off the head. And then I sculpted on the horns and then sculpted the Omnitrix. That's pretty much all I did in terms of sculpting work. The rest of it was just paint. I painted everything in black. Well, not everything in black, almost everything in black. And then I painted on all the details. You see here, kind of some shading, kind of like Goop, but not a whole lot. And then I painted on all these stars and then the eyes. That's pretty much all I did. I could have bulked him out, but I decided not to bulk him out because I kind of like just having him simple like this. And yeah, because he has a really simple design in the show, so I figured just go as simple as possible, save the work for the other figures. And yeah, I definitely really like how he turned out. He's very simple but effective, like I said, with Jetray. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Alien X. Alright, here we have the last figure in this video, the big boy himself, Humungousaur. It's in the name. He's massive. I made him like using a big fig, and yeah. This is actually the most requested figure for me to make ever in the history of my channel and my, customizing career. Everybody has been requesting Humungousaur ever since I uploaded that big Ben 10 video a few years back. And yeah, finally made it. And I decided not to make him in his normal look. I decided to make him in when he's bigger. And he's not exactly scale accurate. He's supposed to be way bigger, like twice the size of him right now. But I still decided to make him like this with this design because I really like the design. And yeah, he looks less plain that way. So the armor bits on the shoulders and the arms were sculpted by me out of Procreate. The head was sculpted out of Procreate, pretty much the whole front of it, and the spikes you see and the little spine going all the way to the tail is sculpted. And he's supposed to have like a long, thick neck, but with big figs, even if I did that, it wouldn't look right. It would take a lot of modification basically, so I decided to save the work and just sculpt it on the head. And he kind of looks like that weird old thing from SpongeBob, but whatever, he looks fine to me. And then I have the Omnitrix, of course, sculpted. The front armor is actually sculpted out of Procreate as well. The toes are sculpted, the little knee things are sculpted, and I also filled in the gaps in the arms. And yeah, overall, really, it's not simple, but it's like took a lot of work to paint this guy. In fact, I could have painted more wrinkles around this figure, but I decided to just call it because he looks pretty great. Pretty happy with how he turned out. And that's pretty much it for Humungousaur. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, or if you like the minifigures you see in this video, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, so that way you'll be notified for my next video whenever that comes out. And if you do want to see my customs earlier or see the work in progress photos of them, you can follow me over on Instagram, where I post work in progress pictures and post them there finished before I post them here. So, yeah, after making all these Ben 10 figures, I won't be making any more for a while. I don't plan on making any aliens from Ultimate Alien as much as I'd like to. I'm kind of burned out, to be honest. And, yeah, I'm not making Gwen, Kevin, or Grandpa Max, or any other characters because I only cared about the aliens growing up. And I still kind of do only care about the aliens. So, yeah, don't expect any other characters anytime soon. I am tempted to make Kevin 11 in his mutated alien form, but no promises there. There's a small chance I'll make other classic Ben 10 aliens in the future, though, because I definitely want to try making Way Big at one point. But again, no promises there. Probably won't be for a while. So anyway, thanks once again so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever or whatever video that'll be. And I'll see you guys next time.